lot of people wrote about it and because of natural music and everything else.
Good evening, everyone. I believe it's 6 o'clock, is it not? Okay, thank you, Eric. Good evening, everyone. We have an intimate Rimonim tonight. Maybe we can turn some of the lights down a little bit back there. I don't know. I bet when Rabbi Feinstein comes in, he'll look around and he'll say, oh, let's turn the lights down. And he'll start turning the lights down. He just does that. So great to be with you. He will be here shortly. But I'm told that...
Did you want us to move forward?
You know, I'm fine if everyone moves forward. We're not supposed to be like right next to each other, I guess. But if anybody wants to move up, please do. That would be great. Thank you. Thank you. Great. And this, we've been doing Rimonim, and I think this is our 14th year, Craig and Jamie. Yeah. And so it's been a while. And we started out doing this one little nigun. A nigun is a wordless melody, and you sort of fill in the prayer yourself, I guess you would say. And so, but this one, interestingly enough, is not a Jewish melody, but we've sort of adopted it. And Jewish music, without going into a whole lecture, seems to absorb from the cultures around it. And this one has an Armenian influence to it, and it's called Fly Away. As we welcome in Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher girshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Al-Yom, Melech Malachei Malachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Al-Yom, Melech Malachei Malachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Olachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei El-Yom. Page 15. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, naria letzor yisheinu, nekadma fanav v'todo, bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Luria, let's all reshape. Diru, Luria, lechun eranena, lechun eranena, lechun eranena, nanai, lechun eranena, lechun eranena, lechun eranena, l'Adonai. 40 שנה הכות בנור, ואומרם תועל לבבהם, והם לא ידעו דרכי, אשר נשבעתי באפי, אם יבואו אל מנוחתי. אור זרוע לצדיק, לצדיק, ולישראל שמחה, שמחה, לללי. 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 לצדיק ולישראל שמחה, שמחה, לללי. אור זרוע לצדיק, לצדיק, ולישראל שמחה, שמחה, לללי. אור זרוע לצדיק ולישראל שמחה, שמחה, לללי. אור זרוע לצדיק שמחה, לללי. אור זרוע לצדיק ולישראל שמחה, שמחה. אור זרוע לצדיק, לצדיק, ולישראל שמחה, שמחה, לללי. אור זרוע לצדיק, לצדיק, ולישראל שמחה, שמחה, לללי. Romemo Adonai Eloheinu
Shabbat Shalom. It's good to see you all. There's a bracha. Good to see you, man. Bracha you make when you haven't seen someone in a long time. It's an ironic bracha. You say, Baruch Michaye Meitim. Blessed is God who revives the dead. No, seriously, because there's someone you haven't seen in a long time. It's like they're gone out of your life and they sort of come back. It's like, whoa, you've been resurrected, you know? So I've been saying that a lot. Seeing people I haven't seen in a long time. I don't know what you say if you only see half of them, though. See, like that. There must be a bracha for only seeing the first top of someone's face. It's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate thing we have to do this. But it'll be gone soon. My infectious disease friends tells me that it's going to be gone soon. So let's pray for that. Yeah, no, seriously, let's pray for that. So welcome, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back to Rimonim. There's a small apology. We were supposed to be in the sukkah, and we got preempted. By a good thing. We got preempted by a bar mitzvah party, so that's a good thing. There's a bunch of kids in the sukkah, and we got pushed back here to the shul. But it's really nice that you came tonight at Shabbat Shalom. So we're about to pray the central prayer of the Kabbalat Shabbat. There's a big story behind this prayer. The story is this. So Jews settle in Spain in the beginning of the first century, and they reach their height of power and influence and population and cultural creativity in the 12th century. And then beginning in the 13th century, there's the beginning of a Spanish reconquista, of a Christian reconquista of Spain. And they slowly push the Muslims and the Jews out of Spain. The last Spanish Jewish community is the community in Granada, which was the last bastion of Muslim influence in Iberia, in Spain. And that, of course, gets conquered, and then Ferdinand and Isabel marry each other, and as a wedding present, they get all the property of the remaining Jews in Spain, and the Jews are kicked out of Spain. It was a terrible tragedy, the end of a great civilization. And the refugees spread all over. They spread all over the Mediterranean. Jews end up in Holland, and in Italy, and in North Africa. And a small circle of mystics end up in the northern Israelite city of Tzfat, Safed, which at the time was a town that had quite a strong economic base because it was a center of textiles on the Turkish trade routes. And this town begins to support this whole community of learned mystics, Zohar scholars. And the town flourishes. And it's the first time in Jewish history that mystics form a sort of population. Mysticism, excuse the expression, comes out of the closet and becomes the popular faith of a whole town. Just imagine a whole town of people who were like spacey, sort of West Hollywood or Van Nuys or I lived in Santa Cruz for many years. It was a lot like that, Parts of San Francisco are like that. There's a whole town of people who were living with their heads in the clouds. And there comes such a powerful creativity. But there was one central question that obsessed these guys because they were all either exiles from Spain or the children of exiles. And the question was, why would God let this happen to us? Why are we homeless in the world? Why are we rootless in the world? Why are we far away from a place we can call home? And they worked on this problem with great passion until there came in their midst a young scholar. His name was Isaac Luria. He'd grown up in Egypt and had spent years and years in sort of mystic meditation. And he shows up, and he only lives in the town for 2 years. And he dies early, dies at age 36. So by the time he was my age, he'd been dead 30 years already. So he comes into town, and in 2 years, like Mozart, completely revolutionizes all of Jewish mysticism. And he offers this idea that in the beginning there was only God. And God opens up a space inside and creates the universe. And God begins to pour light and life and energy into that universe. And he pours too much. Like the lover who loves too much. The parent who loves too much. The musician who plays too much. The writer who writes too much. The rabbi who talks too much. And it explodes. And the whole universe explodes. And God explodes. And Luria says, we live in a world of broken pieces. And God brought us in the world to do one thing, put the pieces together. Tikkun olam. That's where it comes from. He's the one, the phrase existed before, but he's the one who gave it an ideology. And his followers, he dies very young, and his followers begin to weave a tremendous culture of mysticism out of these wonderful tales and stories and these wonderful teachings. And they look for metaphors. So if you're going to look for a metaphor of how to make brokenness into oneness, think of the strongest symbol of that you can think of. And one of his followers was Yehuda Halevi Alkabetz. This is a funny name. He's a Spanish Jewish scholar. And for Alkabetz, Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz, Yehuda was his brother. Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz says the strongest metaphor he could think about was that moment in a wedding when the bride enters the room. You know that moment? It's what rabbis live for. Cantors, we live for this, right? All the tension that goes on of a day of a wedding. I don't know how many of you have ever been through this. It's like loony, right? You know, the relatives are coming and everyone's upset and the parking's not easy and it's hot and there's all this kind of stuff going. And then as soon as the bride appears, it all goes away. And for one shining, brief, pristine moment, everything is right in the universe. The bride enters, and every bride is beautiful. And she enters the room, and she stands next to her groom, her partner, and they hold hands. And for that shining moment, you can believe that anything in the world is possible. No skepticism, no cynicism, no doubt, no qualifications, no compromises. For that one shining moment, everything in the world is perfect, just as it should have been. It really is a happily ever after moment, right there. If there ever was a moment that touches eternity, it's that moment. And Alkabetz says, that's the moment. And so he writes a poem about the healing of the universe using that metaphor. And the poem is on page 21. He says, Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Let this Shabbat be a replication of that moment. Page 21. Let the Shabbat be a moment of unity, a moment of pristine purity, a moment of wholeness, a moment of promise, a moment of beginning. And that's why at the beginning of Shabbat, we copy the tradition of the Tzfat mystics and we sing this song.
Lecha dodi lekrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabela lecha dodi lekrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabela Shamor mezachor v'rivor echad ishmiyanu ha'yuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad shemul tiferet v'litzila lecha dodi lekrat kala b'nei Shabbat kabbalah lecha dodi lekrat לקראת קלה ונשמה קבלה לך אדוני לקראת קלה ונשמה קבלה התעוררי
as we turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu.
Yada-dai-dai-dai, 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 yada-dai-dai-dai. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Moed. You may be seated. Umavir Yom Umevi Laila Umavdil Ben Yom Uven Laila Adonai Tzvaot Shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai HaMa'ariv HaRamim Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Torah u'mitzvot Kimu mishpati Otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu Teshovei Heim Chayenu Ve'orech Yameinu Ve'orech Yameinu Uvahem Ne'eh Yomam V'layla Ve'avatecha Tasir Mimenu Le'olamim Baruch Atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha Uvechol meodech Vehayu Advarim ha'ele Asher Anochi Mitzavecha Hayom al levavecha V'shinantam levanecha V'dibarta bam V'shivtecha b'veitecha Uvlechtecha v'derech Uvshochbecha uvekumecha Ukshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu letotafot beinenecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha, vehayim shamot yishmeu mitzvotai asher nekim mitzvot. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor daber el bnei Yisrael ve'amarta alehem ve'yasu lahem tzitzit al kanfei vigdeihem ledorotam ve'natenu al tzitzit hakanaf v'til techelet ve'haya lachem letzitzit Uritem oto, uschartem et kol mitzvot Adonai, vasitem otam, velotatu ruach harei levavchem, ve'acharei nechem, asher atem zonim, achareihem, leman tizkeru, vasitem et kol mitzvotai, v'item kedoshim le'elohechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet.
The philosopher Abraham Heschel once taught that the essence of Jewish faith is not the assertion of a proposition. We don't have a catechism. We don't have a set of beliefs you have to sign on to in order to call yourself Jewish. It's rather a faithfulness to moments. To moments. And then a sense of the creativity, I guess, and the depth to be able to imagine what are the implications of those moments. This morning I named a baby. It's a wonderful experience. It's actually the new child of a kid whose bat mitzvah I did, and who grew up here in the shul. And she has her first kid, and her mother flew out from New Jersey, and his parents flew out from New York, and we had a little baby naming this morning. Just us, because everyone else was on Zoom. And I said to them, I said, you see this beautiful, tender, sweet, kind, helpless child in your arms? Because he was sleeping at the time. So I said, remember that. Because there's going to come a time when he gets his driver's license, and you're going to be so mad. And there's going to be a time when he drops out of Harvard Business School and goes to ethnomusicology school, when you're going to be so mad. And there's going to be a time when he comes home with a partner with tattoos, and you're going to be so mad. And I want you to remember this. And the same thing happens when, people have difficulties in relationships, and you say, tell me when you first met. Tell me the moment that it became real to you. And we live with the implications of that. How do you live out? How do you stay true to those moments? To those powerful moments of closeness, of intimacy, the moments that revealed what life is really about. That's what faith really is. We had moments, and these moments sustained the Jewish people through all the generations of our wandering, through all the generations of exile, through all the generations of persecution. The reason we stayed alive as a people was because we stayed faithful to those moments and lived the implications of those moments. And the most powerful one is on page 32. We were slaves. Our parents were slaves. Their parents were slaves. There came along this fellow Moses and said, pack your things, make some matzah, we're leaving tonight. Most of us said, no way. But a few of us said, all right, what do we got to lose? And we ran. For 3 days, we ran into the desert. And finally, we get out to the middle of nowhere, up against the Red Sea, and we said, maybe it's real. Maybe we're free. Maybe it's going to happen. And then, of course, Pharaoh's police came chasing us, the sirens and the cars. And we looked at Moses and said, what are you going to do now? We got the sea ahead of us. We got Pharaoh coming behind us. Come on, smart guy, what are we going to do now? And Moses said, Shah. This is the most important thing any Jewish leader can ever say to a community. He's like, Shah, just watch. And he held his arm over the sea, and the sea split, and we crossed to the other side. It may have been like the movie, that's cinematic. It may have been less dramatic, because the point isn't how dramatic the miracle was. The point is how significant the moment was. Because on the other side of the sea, we turned back, and there was nobody chasing us. And then we turned around and saw ahead of us the vast openness of the wilderness. And for the first time in 280 years, we breathed free. We breathed free. And the first thing that the people of Israel did was to sing and to dance. Michamocha ba'ilim Adonai. What kind of God is this? Who doesn't stand on the side of pharaohs, but stands with the slave who seeks to breathe free. And ever since then, we have tried our best to remain true to that moment. And so we repeat it twice a day, every single day. Page 32.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neder b'kodesh, Torah tehilot o sefer Okay, I am lifnei Moshe Zehli anu v'yomeru Adonai Eloch leolam va'ed Yai dai dai yai da 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 dai Yai dai dai yai da 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 dai Yai dai dai yai da da Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael.
Pray tonight for a night of peace and a morning of renewal and for the protection of God's presence. If there's someone in your life who needs a little protection, then remember them now. Gather in their presence. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom. Let us go to sleep tonight in peace. V'amidenu malkenu l'chaim, and raise us up in the morning to life. Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha. Spread above us a sukkah, a shelter of your peace. V'tachnenu b'yetza tova milfanecha, v'oshienu l'man shemecha, v'yagein b'yadenu, v'yaser mi'aleinu oyev dever v'cherev v'rav v'yagon. Remove all that frightens us and all that steals away the peace of the nighttime. V'yaser satan milfanenu me'acharenu v'tzel kanafecha tastirenu ki el shomrenu matzilenu ata ki el melech chanun v'rachum ata u'shmor tzeitzenu v'oenu l'chaim v'l'shalom yatavi arolam. Guard us when we go out and protect us as we come back. Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai. Praised are you, God. Haporei sukkot shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim, who spreads a sukkah of peace over us, over all our people, over our city, and over all the children of humanity.
V'shomeru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Ledorotam Berit Olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti leolam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti leolam V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et Asaronai en hashamayim ve'eta ha'aretz b'nei Yisrael et hashabat asot et hashabat hayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayi nafash, Shabbat vayi nafash, Shabbat vayi nafash. Please rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rama Be'alma divrach hirutei ve'amlich malchutei B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Bagala bagala uv'izman kariv Vayimaru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam ulal me'almaya Yitbarach Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei Kudusha B'richu La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushmechata v'nechemata Damiran ve'alma Vayimaru Amen. Take a few moments of silent meditation on page 35. Ose shalom bimroma, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'himeru Amen. Ose shalom Roma, oyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, Hey, ay, 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 שמי רבה, ועלמא דברה כנותיו ימליך מלכותי, וחייכון וימיכון חיר כל בית ישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב ויאמרו, יהי שמי רבה מבורך, ועלמא עלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר וישמע ונעשה, וירהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשו, בריחו לילה מן כל מלכתה ושירתה, תושבחנה ונחמתה, דמירה מימה ויאמרו, תקבל צלות הון וברכון לכל ישראל, קודם אבנו משמי ויאמרו, יהי שלמה רבה מן שמי וחיים, עלינו ולכל ישראל ויאמרו, עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו. Kiddush, maybe? Sure, why not? Got some wine. Please rise. Aleinu l'shameach la'adon hakol, atayit gedula le'yotzer b'reshit, lo asa gegoyei ha'aratzot, v'lo zamaru b'shmerut ha'adama. Sing it with us. Aleinu.
invite those who recite the Kaddish to remain standing. You'll find the words of Kaddish on page 52. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalmad yivrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayedech al Beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam al maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnasei, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekud shabrichu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Please be seated for a moment. Shabbat shalom to everyone. It's wonderful to see you all again, at least to see your eyes again. It's wonderful to see you. Thanks. Wonderful to see Craig back. Welcome. Great to see you. And Jamie, nice to see you back. And Cantor Phil, thank you again. Shabbat shalom to everyone. Everyone watching at home, Shabbat shalom. Go to the stove and turn off the soup. It's going to burn. Okay. Just a couple of announcements. Tomorrow morning, Torah study at 9 o'clock on Facebook and YouTube. We're not yet live because we're waiting for the new video equipment to be installed in the new chapel. So as soon as the equipment is in the chapel, we'll return live. So it'll be sometime in the middle of October, I hope. In the meantime, you can catch Rabbi Gelman and me at 9 o'clock on Facebook and YouTube. Tomorrow morning, we're talking about the book of Kohelet, the book of Ecclesiastes, which by tradition is read on Sukkot, on the Shabbat of Sukkot. And you're going to hear Rabbi Gelman's argument about Buddhism and Judaism, and you're going to hear my argument trying to defend Judaism. It's a great argument. So please join us tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock, right here in the synagogue, bar mitzvah of Gavin Torbati, and a wonderful service. We have a wonderful service together tomorrow morning at 10. This tomorrow afternoon at 6, of course, Yossi will be davening Mincha and the Mariv service. On Sunday, we have Minyan in the morning on Facebook and YouTube, not live, just online, and in the evening at 6 o'clock. And the Our Space program and the Shari Tikva kids will be back here in the synagogue on Sunday afternoon to celebrate the beginning of their Kehillah Kedosha. It's our special needs program. Kids and their families will be here. Monday night begins the next round of holidays. Everybody take a big deep breath and go, holidays? Yes, one more round of holidays. One more round of holidays before Halloween comes. Monday night, beginning of Shmini Atzeret. Go ahead, ask me what Shmini Atzeret is. Ask me. I have no idea. Monday night, the beginning of Shmini Atzeret. Tuesday morning, 9:30, we daven here in the synagogue. And for those who would like to recite the Yizkor prayers in memory of loved ones, that'll be at about 11 o'clock, 11:15 or so on Tuesday morning. Tuesday night is the last night of our holiday season that started months ago, and it's Simchat Torah, the celebration of Torah, the celebration of joy. We would love to have a joyful, crazy, wild celebration. Unfortunately, it's a little dangerous. Given the COVID variation, and we have so many kids around. So what we're doing instead is we're going to have a beautiful festival of Jewish storytelling and Jewish music. At 5 o'clock for little kids and their families, ECC kids and their families, and at 7 o'clock for older kids and their families. Our guests are going to be the internationally well-known storyteller Karen Golden and my dear friend, the musician Craig Taubman, along with Cantor, you're coming too. Jamie's coming too. We're having the Gitai and Daphna are playing. Rabbi Avi's coming back. So we're going to have a whole bunch of wonderful storytelling punctuated with some wonderful music. We'll read the end of the Torah, the last verses of the Torah, then roll it back to the beginning and start all over again, which is the tradition. That will be on Tuesday night. Please come and join us. It'll be outside. And we'll be masked, so it'll be safe for kids. Samuel. You don't actually have to sign up online, but you do need to bring validation that you've been vaccinated or vaccination that you've been validated. You need to show that you're not going to get anybody sick, okay? If you get that done online, then you can jump to the head of the line. It's like a fast pass at Disneyland. okay, if you understand what that is. If you don't get it done online, just come and bring your vaccine card, okay? And we just want to make sure that all the grown-ups are vaccinated so that we can protect the children who are here, okay? Okay, so please do that, okay? And then on Wednesday morning is really the end of the holiday season. At 9:30, we'll do Simchat Torah here in the synagogue, and we'll celebrate the Torah together. Everybody got that? And then after that, it's real time again. It's real time again. Like the holidays are over, and we can celebrate Halloween, and we can celebrate the end of the baseball season, and we can celebrate, Thanksgiving's coming. If UCLA figures out how to play defense, we can celebrate with them. If SC figures out how to play at all, we'll be able to celebrate with them. So there'll be plenty to celebrate that doesn't have to do with the Jewish future. And please come and join us for all those things. Everybody stand up. Wish each other a good Shabbos. Shabbat shalom.
I don't know love. Share my life, there and cold, till Nivra, the eight Nasa, Chef Soko, Zai Melech, Shema, they are right, Sako, they are Kef Soko, Zai Melech, Shonigra. I don't know love, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.